Oxtail used to be one of the cheapest cuts of beef, often sold for just a few dollars per pound. Today, it's a premium product selling for around $14 per pound, about the same as a sirloin steak, but with much less actual meat. This price surge has left many wondering how a once discarded cut of meat became one of the most expensive. For many, oxtail has always been a staple, deeply rooted in cultural traditions. But for others, it has only recently gained recognition as a delicacy. The shift in demand has led to soaring prices, making it harder for communities that have been cooking with oxtail for generations to afford it. This has even sparked an online movement to make oxtail cheap again, as longtime oxtail lovers push back against its rising cost. So, how did we get here? Why is oxtail now so expensive, and will it ever become affordable again? For much of its history, oxtail was considered a throwaway cut in the US. It was largely ignored by mainstream consumers and high-end restaurants. Unlike popular cuts like ribeye or filet mignon, oxtail is mostly bone and fat, with only about 40% usable meat. Because of this, oxtail was traditionally sold at a very low price. But that didn't stop certain communities from recognizing its unique qualities. In Latin American, Caribbean, and Asian cuisines, oxtail has been used for centuries in rich, slow-cooked dishes. What makes oxtail so special? High collagen content. This makes the meat gelatinous and rich in texture. Slow-cooked flavor. Oxtail becomes incredibly tender and flavorful after being simmered for hours. Deep cultural roots. Many cultures have perfected oxtail recipes passed down for generations. However, for most of modern history, oxtail remained an overlooked ingredient in the US, sitting in butcher shops for cheap. But that all changed in the last couple of decades. Why did oxtail prices skyrocket? Oxtail's price increase didn't happen overnight. Several factors have led to the surge in demand and cost. 1. Limited supply. Oxtail makes up a very small portion of a cow, only 4 to 6 pounds per animal. In comparison, a cow yields hundreds of pounds of other cuts like sirloin or chuck. This natural scarcity makes it impossible to produce oxtail at large volumes, and as demand rises, so does the price. 2. Growing popularity in the US. Oxtail's mainstream appeal began rising in the mid-2010s as more chefs and food influencers started showcasing it in trendy dishes. Suddenly, high-end restaurants were experimenting with oxtail tacos, oxtail pasta, and even oxtail soup dumplings. This new wave of interest drove up demand, making oxtail harder to find and more expensive. 3. The COVID-19 pandemic's impact on beef prices. During the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain disruptions led to rising beef prices across the board. Consumers searching for cheaper meat alternatives turned to overlooked cuts like oxtail. However, because oxtail is naturally limited in supply, its price skyrocketed faster than most other cuts. From 2015 to 2024, oxtail prices more than doubled in the US. 2015, $6 per pound. 2020, $10 per pound. 2024, $14 per pound. And with demand still strong, prices aren't likely to drop anytime soon. The impact on traditional consumers. For many Caribbean, Latin American, and Asian communities, oxtail isn't just another cut of beef. It's a key part of cultural identity. In Jamaica, for example, oxtail stew has been a national dish for centuries. The dish originated during the island's colonial era, when enslaved Africans were given the least desirable cuts of meat, including oxtail. Through slow cooking techniques and traditional spices, they transformed this tough, bony cut into a rich, flavorful dish. Over time, oxtail became a Jamaican culinary treasure. Even before the price surge, oxtail was always considered a luxury in Jamaica, but today it's even harder to afford. Since 41% of Jamaica's meat imports come from the US, including oxtail, price increases in America directly impact local markets. Many Jamaican restaurants have had to raise their prices or remove oxtail from menus altogether. But it's not just Jamaica. Across the US, Caribbean and soul food restaurants that once served affordable oxtail dishes have struggled to keep up with rising costs. As oxtail became more expensive, some longtime fans took to social media to express their frustration. This led to the birth of the Make Oxtail Cheap Again movement, where people joked about the absurdity of oxtail prices. Social media posts with the hashtag Make Oxtail Cheap Again spread quickly, with users reminiscing about the days when oxtail was affordable. Some even tried to deter newcomers from eating it, jokingly posting that oxtail was disgusting to scare people away. But behind the jokes is a real concern. For many, oxtail is no longer a dish they can afford to enjoy regularly. Will oxtail ever be cheap again? With the demand for oxtail higher than ever, it's unlikely that prices will drop anytime soon. However, its rising cost has led to new innovations in how it's cooked and served. Many chefs are now experimenting with different ways to use oxtail, from ravioli fillings to slow-smoked BBQ dishes. While traditionalists argue that oxtail should be prepared the old-fashioned way, others believe its evolution into gourmet cuisine is inevitable. Despite the controversy, one thing is clear: oxtail is here to stay. Whether it remains a cultural comfort food or fully transitions into a high-end delicacy, its reputation as one of the most flavorful cuts of beef is stronger than ever. But for those who remember when oxtail was a cheap, everyday meal, the rising price is a painful reminder that sometimes the best-kept food secrets don't stay secret forever.